Welcome. In this lesson we'll learn how to give an LLM real-world capabilities through function calling. By the end, you'll know how to define tool schemas, wire up Python functions, and build the loop that lets a model decide when to call search, a calculator, or any API on its own. On their own, language models can't look up today's news, do precise arithmetic, or take actions in other systems. Function calling solves this by letting you describe tools the model can request. The key safety property is that the model never runs code itself, it only proposes a structured call, and your application decides whether and how to execute it. That control is what makes agents production ready. Here's the core loop. You send the user's message along with your tool definitions. The model responds either with a normal answer or with one or more tool calls, each containing a function name and JSON arguments. You execute those functions, append the results back into the conversation, and call the model again. It uses the fresh data to continue, possibly calling more tools, until it produces a final answer. A tool is described with JSON Schema. The name is a unique identifier. The description is the most important field, it tells the model exactly when and why to use the tool, so write it carefully. The parameters object defines each argument with its type and which ones are required. Use enums to restrict values to valid options, which dramatically reduces invalid calls. On the execution side, keep a registry dictionary that maps each tool name to the actual Python function. When the model requests a tool, you look it up here and call it with the provided arguments. Make sure your functions return serializable results, typically strings. And be careful with anything that evaluates input, never use a raw eval on untrusted text in production, sandbox it properly. Here's the loop in code. After calling the model, check if it returned tool calls. If not, you have your final answer. If it did, loop over each call, look up the function, parse the arguments, remember they arrive as a JSON string so you must JSON.loads them, and execute. Then append a tool role message containing the result and the matching tool_call_ID. You must also append the assistant's original tool call message first, or the conversation structure breaks. A few practices separate hobby projects from production agents. Write descriptions that tell the model precisely when to act. Always validate arguments since models can hallucinate or omit fields. When something fails, return a descriptive error string rather than crashing, this lets the model retry or adjust. Keep each tool focused on one job, limit how many you expose, and set a maximum iteration count to prevent infinite loops. Finally, watch for these common mistakes. Forgetting to append the assistant's tool call message before the tool result is the number one bug. Vague descriptions lead to poor tool selection. Remember, arguments arrive as a JSON string and must be parsed. And always serialize your return values. Avoid these and your function calling agents will be robust and reliable.